সবাই এখন চুপচাপ হয়ে যাবে না? না মাইক লাগবে? মাইক লাগলে বলবো, ঠিক আছে? তাহলে আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমরা আজকে আসছি Russian House থেকে, Russian House in Dhaka and the Russian Computers Association in Bangladesh. দুইটা অর্গানাইজেশন একসাথে আপনার কাছে আসছে। আমরা আজকে কথা বলতে যাচ্ছি কালকে 22 তারিখে আমার দেশে রাশিয়া, আমরা রাশিয়া কথা বলবো। 85 years back, জার্মানি শুরু খুবই খারাপ যুদ্ধ। এই যুদ্ধ বেশি ছিল 420 দিন। চিন্তা করেন 1400 দিন। বাংলাদেশে যুদ্ধ ছিল 270 দিন, তাই না? তাহলে কয়বার দেশে এই যুদ্ধের মধ্যে রাশিয়ার মধ্যে 27 মিলিয়ন পিপল মরে গেছে। চিন্তা করেন 27 মিলিয়ন। এই জন্য কালকের দিন আমরা বলি Day of Remember Sorrow. In the beginning, I want to invite Director of Russian House in Dhaka, Russian House in Bangladesh, Mrs. Alexandra.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexandra Denoy. I'm the first secretary of the Russian Embassy here in Bangladesh and also the director of the Russian House, which is a cultural center. And we are helping to build cultural and educational bridges between Russia and Bangladesh. And today we gathered here at a very important event. Today we are celebrating the day of remembrance and sorrow dedicated to the 85th anniversary of the beginning of the Second World War. And as I see so many ambitious young boys and girls in this room, it's between in the age of 18 and 25, I suppose. So you are at the same age where you are planning your future and discovering your passions and making plans and learning some new sciences and languages. But tonight I want you to take back history, and I want to take you back to 85 years ago. When young people exactly of your age were celebrating their final days of school on the 21st of June. And 85 years ago, on June 22nd, 1941, the darkest chapter of the human history began. This day marks the beginning of the Second World War on the Soviet territory of the Soviet Union. And this Second World War, which began in the Soviet Union, we call it the Great Patriotic War. So for many of you, it might, here in Bangladesh, it might feel like a distant event from a history book, while for us, ladies and men from Russia, it's a very sacred day, as almost every family from Russia has some ancestors who took part in the Great Patriotic War, or who died, or therefore who sacrificed their health and a lot of other resources for bringing this to nowadays. And But for us, it's also very personal memory even today. And it was back then, it was not just some kind of geopolitical conflict or invading new territory as it might seem for you. Back then, the Second World War was a war intended by fascist forces to exterminate any other nations except for their superior race. So their goal was to kill such nations as Russians, Slavics, Jews, and this was a war that was intended to kill whole nations. From the fascist side, and driven by that hateful ideology of racial supremacy, they viewed Slavics and other nations that lived in the Soviet Union and as an inferior race, and that had no right to exist. And their ultimate goal was to systematic extermination and the literal erasure of all nations, identities and cultures. And the price paid for to stop that madness was immeasurable. The Soviet Union lost 27 million people in that war. For your understanding, 27 million is approximately the whole population of Australia. So of today. So basically, that many people of the Soviet Union in Russia died for this peace that we have today, to kill that idea of fascism and superior race from the European regions. And millions of those killed boys and girls and ladies and men were teenagers and the young adults, just like you, and who had their who had their schools, had to leave their schools, had to leave their universities, had to leave their families in order to fight for the freedom to live and to live right, to live by the rules of their own cultural identity. And they sacrificed their youth, they sacrificed their lives for that for their families. And today is our day of memory and sorrow, and we look back to of the Second World War proved that any form of discrimination based on nationality, race, or ethnicity is absolutely unacceptable. And when we allow hatred to target nations, we compromise our humanity. And this much co-lines with your own history, when you also had to fight for your own language, when you had to fight for your own Bengali identity, to live by the culture that you were raised. So this lesson that we have to learn today, we have to remember those heroes who laid down their lives for having our future of today, and not to lose our human soul. We should always remember that it's not about technology or money that we are living. It's about people to people connections, and we have to preserve that love for our family, for other people. We have to respect them, and we have to preserve that peace, because they price for it that was paid by our ancestors was enough. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Show na kay Denise.